So happy to be back at the 92nd Street Y. It feels like a home, and there's so many old friends here tonight and new friends. I've been on this wild few weeks of touring around the country with this book, and I'm feeling so happy. And I think the reason I'm feeling so happy is because I've been with girls. I'm just spending so much time with girls, and I have now 15, and I don't have any illusions any longer. Because I'm one of those people, I just become whoever I'm with, and I really woke up this morning, I went, I am 15, you know, and I had an experience a few weeks ago, which is an indication of, I think I'll begin with that little story, because I was asked at an event in Berkeley, you know, if I would comment on anybody famous I'd met to say something surprising about them, and it was a strange question, and I was trying to figure out the answer, and then I told the story of how a few weeks ago I was on Tyra's show, and Beyonce was on before me, and someone said, we really want you to meet Beyonce, and I said, I just couldn't, I'm just too in awe of Beyonce, please don't make me meet her, I'll just become insane, you know, and they were like, Eve, get a grip, you're Eve, come on, go, and so I was like, I really don't want to, I just want to love her from afar and really appreciate her, and you know, and so finally they dragged me to meet her, and I became utterly stupid and starstruck, and I was just like, you're Beyonce, and she tried to cover for me, and she was like, I like your hair, and all day long I went around going, Beyonce likes my hair. So I realized I had been fully reduced. But when you see someone who's that amazing and that talented, and you know, what do you say? You just are in awe. And I think part of doing this book and writing this book, and I'll talk a little bit about it, is being honest about our feelings and being in our feelings and being in the truth of our feelings and being emotional and not seeing that as an insult. You know, somebody said to me, well, what would you say now when people say you're too emotional? And I would say, thank you. I've worked really hard to be this emotional, and you can too if you work hard enough also, you know? So I thought, because this place feels like my living room and my house, and I love it here, that I would begin by reading you all the introduction. Because, I also just want to say in preface, I had the great experience of speaking at TED in India a few months ago. And you know, TED conference, for those of you who don't know it, it's a really extraordinary thing, but it's very, very intimidating to be asked to speak there. Because it's mainly physicists and scientists and people who discovered the moon, and people, I mean, really, you sit there and go, you did what? You were under the ocean and you discovered, you know, protons that, you know, and whenever I'm asked to speak there, I just don't know why. You know, I talk about vaginas, and so I thought for this TED conference I was going to do something really different, and I talk about cells, and I talk about the girl cell that's present in each of us, and I started to really just get into this whole idea of girl cells, like what are girl cells? They're in men and women, and what are the ingredients, and what's the makeup of them, and it was just an incredible thing that started going in my brain, and so I did this presentation on girl cells and looking at how, when we're born, most of us are born with girl cells, and boys and girls, and some girls have more girl cells than boys, and some boys have more. But for boys, the minute they're born, the girl cell is like slammed shut. It's like you will not have a girl cell, and you will kill off your girl cells, and you will mutate them, and you will censor them, and you will abort girl cells, kill off girl cells. And so from the time a boy cries or has a feeling or is vulnerable or is connected to his heart or asks questions or doesn't know, or he's told he's weak and get over that and grow up and be a man. And basically does it mean to be a man? Well, or a boy? It means not to be a girl. I mean, that's kind of the definition of boyhood or manhood. It's not to be a girl. And for girls, you're taught we're allowed to be a girl for a while, and then when you really come into your girlness, you're told you're too intense, you're too alive, you're too emotional, you're too this, and so then you begin to be shut down and muted. And so girls are taught not to be girls, women are taught not to be girls, men are taught not to be girls, leaders are taught not. Girls must be awfully powerful if we're all taught not to be them, you know? And so I gave this talk at TED, and I was very nervous about it because the majority of people in the audience are usually men. And I had no idea how it would be received. And it was an incredible thing, because at the end of the whole performance and the whole presentation, all these men came up to me, and a lot of different kinds of men, and Indian men, just thanking me for honoring the girl inside them. And this one particular man, who was an ancient, really old man, really old, he had this long beard, came up to me and he just said, I want to thank you. My inner girl thanks you. You know, and I thought, okay, the world's changing, you know. So I preface this by saying that when you hear girl in all of us, dear emotional creature, you know who you are. I wrote this book because I believe in you. I believe in your authenticity, your uniqueness, your intensity, your wildness. I love the way you dye your hair purple, or hike up your short skirt, or blare your music while you lip sync every single memorized lyric. I love your restlessness and your hunger. You are one of our greatest natural resources. You possess a necessary agency and energy that, if unleashed, could transform, inspire, and heal the world. I know we make you feel stupid, as if being a teenager meant you were temporarily deranged. We have become accustomed to muting you, judging you, discounting you, asking you, sometimes even forcing you to portray what you see and know and feel. You scare us. You remind us of what we've been forced to shut down or abandon in ourselves in order to fit in. You ask us by your being to question, to wake up, to re-perceive. Sometimes I think we tell you we are protecting you when really we are protecting ourselves from our own feelings of self-betrayal and loss. Everyone seems to have a certain way they want you to be. Your mother, father, teachers, religious leaders, politicians, boyfriends, fashion gurus, celebrities, girlfriends. In researching this book, I came upon a very disturbing statistic. 74% of you say you are under pressure to please everyone. I've done a lot of thinking about what it means to please, to embody the wish or will of somebody other than yourself. To please the fashion setters, we starve ourselves. To please boys, we push ourselves when we aren't ready. To please the popular girls, we end up acting mean to our best friends. To please our parents, we become insane overachievers. If you are trying to please, how do you take responsibility for your own needs? How do you even know what your own needs are? What do you have to cut off in yourself in order to please others? I think the act of pleasing makes everything murky. We lose track of ourselves. We stop uttering declaratory sentences. We stop directing our lives. We wait to be rescued. We forget what we know. We make everything okay rather than real. I've had the good fortune to travel around the world. Everywhere I meet teenage girls, circles of girls, packs of girls, walking the country roads home from school, hanging out on city street corners, arm in arm, laughing, giggling, screaming, electric girls. I see how your lives get hijacked, how your opinions and desires get denied and undone. I see, too, how this later comes to determine so much of our lives as adults. This book is a call to question rather than to please, to provoke, to challenge, to dare, to satisfy your own imagination and appetite, to know yourself truly, to take responsibility for who you are, to engage. This book is a call to listen to the voice inside you that might want something different, that hears, that knows the way only you can hear and know. It's a call to your original girl self, to your emotional creature self, to move at your speed, to walk with your step, to wear your color. It's an invitation to heed your instinct to resist war or draw snakes or speak to the stars. I hope you will see this book as something living, that you will use it to help you identify and overcome the obstacles or pressures that prevent you from being an emotional creature. Maybe after you read these stories and monologues, you will be inspired and to share and write your own, or paint your bedroom wall, or fight for polar bears, or speak up in class, or learn about sexuality, or demand your rights. When I was your age, I didn't know how to live as an emotional creature. I felt like an alien. I still do most of the time. I don't think it has much to do with the country I grew up in or the language I speak. In this book, there are girls from everywhere. Some live in remote villages, others in huge cities or posh suburbs, some worrying about whether they will be able to afford the latest pair of purple Uggs, some worrying if they'll ever get home after 2 years of being held as a sex slave, some deciding whether they're able to kill a supposed enemy, some on the brink of killing themselves, some desperate for the next meal, some unable to stop starving themselves. Girls from Cairo, Kuwait, Sofia, Ramallah, Bukavu, Iraq, Westchester, Jerusalem, Manhattan, Paris, all of them, all of you live on the planet right now. I think whatever country or town or village you physically live in, you inhabit a similar emotional landscape. You all come from girl land. There you get born with this awakeness, this open-hearted, have to eat it, taste it, know it, defy it. Then the grown-ups come with their rules and directions. They teach you how to make yourselves less so everyone feels more comfortable. They teach you not to stand out. They get you to behave. I am older now. I finally know the difference between pleasing and loving, obeying and respecting. It has taken me so many years to be okay with being different, with being this alive, this intense. I just don't want you to have to wait that long.